Okay, so just like last week, we are going to do a quick roundup of Loki episode 3 in time for episode 4 coming out on Wednesday.
Makes sense.
Let's get straight into it. Does make sense, yeah. Let's get straight into it. Con, your thoughts on the episode?
For me, weakest episode so far.
Okay.
I'll probably give it a 6 out of 10.
All right.
I'm not a big fan of Sylvie, which we'll obviously get into. But yeah, not the best for me.
Okay. Brad?
Straight to the point, Con.
Very much so.
Agree with most of that. I don't mind Sylvie. Quite good, to be fair, although it was centred around her, which we guessed in our last week roundup it would be. Sort of a soft origin sort of thing. But yeah, I'd probably give it a 6 out of 10. I thought it was reasonably good. Nowhere near sort of great, but definitely the weakest of the 3. It felt to me it was a filler ep.
Yeah,
it was.
Yeah, I agree. It's the worst out of 3, but I still think it was a good episode. I actually quite liked it. And Sylvie, I get what you're saying. I didn't really like her in some bits, but other bits I actually thought she was really good.
Yeah,
like just the character. But I did like their interaction. But anyway, let's get into it. So starts off quite cool. You know, she says later on she creates fantasies to get the stronger minded people out. It's and she's interrogating that soldier or TVA soldier, trying to find out where timekeepers are. Tells about the gold elevators, and then we get to when she comes through to the TVA. Thought she was really good at fighting.
Oh, she's better than him, for God's sake.
Yeah.
But that was fantastic. That mind projection.
Yeah.
When it started, was you a little bit like, "What's going on here?"
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, I was a little bit.
Well, when did this happen?
And then, fair enough.
Yeah, it was quite good, and she did have a bit of resistance to it, didn't she? And then, even she realised we're not friends, and that, but she ends up telling her the gold elevators. Yeah. Sylvie gets there, and she tries to use her magic a little bit, realises it doesn't work, and but it doesn't matter because she has to fight, and she has the melty sticks. They do look good every time. Someone gets melted or disintegrated, I think it looks good.
It does.
I think it looks really good. It reminds me of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Do you remember? And Blade. Do you know when they used to get staked?
Blade? Yes, I remember Blade.
That sort of thing where...
Should have started with Blade.
I should have, yeah. It actually does remind me more of Blade, not Buffy. I don't know why I said that. I thought vampires. So anyway, then we get Loki versus Sylvie a little bit, having a little fight. It's a good conversation between the two. He's got his daggers back. And then they open up. What's that? Is it Ranveer? Ravonna, that's the one. Comes to try and do it. They open up a time door, whatever they call them. Fall through to...
Should really find out what the name is for that, shouldn't
we?
We call them a time... I don't think time door's perfect, so I'm sticking with that.
I'm going to say time door. And then because it's called a tempad thing, isn't it? Yeah. But time door. Anyway, they open it up. We don't know where they are at the moment. They fall through. Loki uses a bit of magic, jumps behind Sylvie, have a little bit of more of a tussle, and then he hides it. He hides the tempad. Then we skip forward. It's what 2077 year 2077 on Lamentis 1. Can I just ask or forget the episode for a second? I thought it looked incredible for a TV show.
Yeah, visually it was brilliant.
It did look,
especially when it looked up at like the moon or whatever was coming to crash and all the bits coming out. I thought it was really
for a desolate planet that's obviously an apocalypse time thing they're in. You think it. How does it look visually good? Because it's just like vast sand and stuff. Yeah. But it was everything they chose from the little Tokyo-looking bit we get to later on from, as Craig said, the moon. It was visually stunning. Yeah, so fair point.
Very good. I was impressed. There's a little bit I just wrote down when they're running. They're running through to that other bit, and there's all bits coming down. And she saves him because he's got the tempad on him, and he sort of saves her, and then she moans about it, and he's running. I don't know if you caught it. Do you hear what he says when he runs? I had to wind it back. Listen again. He goes, "Because you're so weird," and just carries on running.
I didn't pick up.
He goes, "You're so weird." She goes, "Why did you say me?" He goes, "You're so weird." Just carries on running. And then they get into that shack sort of place. I don't know how to describe it. Did either of you think there was some weird sexual chemistry at this bit? She tries to enchant him, and it was a bit weird.
I got it all over this episode.
Yeah.
I started off, I think it was, for me, it was like a sexual chemistry at the start, but by the end of it, it was like quarrelling brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
Brother and sister, really.
Yeah.
I thought.
Would that be, just a question, would that be weird to you?
What?
To both of you? Would that be weird if they did have a sexual connection?
Incest would be weird to me, yeah.
Well,
they're not they're
the same
relation.
They're the same.
I think it's weird, by the way.
No, it is definitely weird.
I'm with you, Connor, by the way. I was just trying to...
I mean, we'll get to some sexual stuff later on. So we get the plan. They need to... she says that there's a plan, years in the making, that is now ruined. They go to have a little fight again, and they both... I did like. What didn't you like about Sylvie?
I didn't like her as the actor, not the character. The actor. I thought she was too common in her voice to play Loki. You see, because Loki pronounces every single letter, and he's not like us. I said letter, but Loki said letter, and she was just too sort of East London. Do you know what I mean? I didn't really like it.
Yeah, fair point.
There was a few swear words in this one. Did you pick it on it?
Yeah.
I think she says shit plan at one point. She calls him an arsehole at another point. I thought, I didn't expect this from her, but that sort of goes to what you're saying, like the sort of common sort of London sort of version of Loki, which...
That's actually a really good point. I didn't think of that. I do see the difference now you say it.
Yeah.
I suppose he was... I don't think she was like brought up on Asgard, was she, clearly? So maybe that's why, because he's got like that Asgardian language, like old folk tale and stuff, and it's a clear difference. But she is very common now you say it.
I think she was brought up on Bow Road, I think.
And then they get their plan when they've got to, recharge the tempad. They have to go find a power source. While they're talking, we get a little bit of it's sort of dotted about throughout the episode. You find out some more stuff about her and some stuff about our Loki.
Yep.
And then she says she's not Loki anymore. She doesn't want to be called that. She's Sylvie now. Sort of reinvented herself. I did like the little neon sign bit. Yeah, when he's like, could that? He says he's tech savvy earlier on in the episode. Could that power it? And she goes up, yeah. Let me try and do it. Pass it over. He realizes obviously she's just going to steal it. And then she says, basically, you're an idiot. So don't tell me that this neon sign is going to get a time door open again. Then we get to the, I just wrote down the old lady's hut. I didn't know how to describe it. She was just sitting there. Again, I think this whole episode was very much showed a difference between Loki and Sylvie. Because she just wants to go all guns blazing in, which she tries to do, gets blasted away. Loki goes to the more democratic and changes into a husband. Ruins it because he says something and she says he would never be that nice. And he gets blasted away, and then she says, you've got to go to the Ark, which is wherever she said in town, and train station, the edge of town. So then we skip forward to the train station bit. This is where she said, like, she goes, we'll go in there, it's their choice, they want to fight us, but we'll try and do it as well as we can. He transformed into a guard as such, with a weird helmet thing on, and that's where she said there's a shit plan. But it was quite interesting that the rest of it, 'cause it is, I think it was quite a society sort of thing, like real world society, where it's like only the rich are getting these tickets to get out of here. We're just left here because I think a woman says it's leaving, and we've been queuing here for hours, and all the rich are just walking on. Having a lovely time.
Has anyone seen Snowpiercer?
No, I haven't actually. No.
So very, very similar. I think they actually not copied, took inspiration from that a lot, because that's basically Snowpiercer, exactly that.
Oh, I haven't seen that actually. But and then obviously one train, and I'm actually interested to see if you liked it. You've got a good 5-6 minutes of conversation just between the two of them. Did you not like that bit so much then because of her, or?
I did like their interaction. It was good. I did enjoy that scene. It's not. I don't dislike the character. I just dislike the actor. But she was fine there.
Okay, yeah, fair. Because you learned quite a bit here.
Is it because she's at the minute? I don't think she will be. We'll get on maybe later, but. Do you think it's because at the minute she's not fulfilling the main antagonist?
I think so.
She is quite weak for a main antagonist. I say, I don't think she is going to be. No. But I get what you mean by that, and I do agree with you.
So we get some stuff about, during this conversation, obviously neither of them want to sleep and rest because they don't trust each other, which is very much a Loki thing. You're not going to trust it. Then we get onto the mothers. He's talking about his mum showing him magic and stuff like that. She says she doesn't even remember hers, but they both know they're adopted. And then they talk about love, which I thought was a bit weird. That bit makes sort of sense. But then this is the bit where I think you might want to speak about the love bit, and he's a prince. Yeah, and then
but to sum up, he says in terms a bit of both. I suppose. I suppose the same as you. So basically, that was put in by Kate Herron, is the director, isn't it? Right, and who I think is bisexual.
Yeah,
and she's basically now making it canon that he is bisexual in the MCU, which I do not have an issue with at all. It's the fact that I do feel now it's very forced in this phase 4.
Yeah.
Because as we've said, the best time probably would have been Ragnarok, because that was a weird Sakaar planet. Yeah. You had Jeff Goldblum's character, Grandmaster. He might as well have been bisexual. I don't know what he was into.
Yeah.
That was probably a good way to introduce something like that. And then you had obviously him in Thor before. You had Dark World. You had Avengers. It's never been hinted at.
No.
Yeah.
And I just feel like it now, just unfortunately, with a character that I love, it now feels forced. And that's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's all I'm going to say on
I
it.
do agree. The only thing I would say is obviously what people brought up about it is that in the comics he can be a male, a female, or whatever, and he's as a female Loki, he's got with men, and with male Loki, he's got with women. So it sort of makes sense in the grand scheme of things, but I don't think it needed to be.
They try and say about the Norse mythology as well, and I know a lot about Norse mythology. He's never been bisexual.
Yeah.
He's took, as Craig just said, in actual, long before Marvel even existed, Norse mythology, he took up forms of like old women to go on Earth or Midgard, whatever, and spy and stuff like that. And then he lived lives, and I think he got impregnated as a goat. I think once as a female goat or something strange like that.
Yeah.
But he's never been, I'm Loki, god of mischief, and I'm bisexual in my form of Loki. That's never happened.
I think my thing is, unless they're going to actually progress this storyline and you see him with a man or you see him with a woman, fair enough. But if not, there's no need for it.
Yeah.
No point.
Yeah.
Point.
Yeah.
No point.
I get that. Although, both in Marvel and Norse mythology, Loki his child was a big wolf. So it's a weird. This is just a weird character.
What a good wrap up on that.
So then we get a bit of, obviously she does fall asleep singing, Loki singing his little song, getting everyone riled up, I suppose. They was all having a wonderful
That was
time.
brilliant. Yeah. That was good.
Apart from the one rich guy goes to get the guards, everyone else was loving it. Joining in with the song. I don't know why he went off.
How cool is Tom? I assume that was Norway. I assume that was like Norwegian.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be. Yeah,
But how good was that? That was quite long.
yeah.
But anyway, brilliant scene.
And then I wrote this down because it did make me laugh. Obviously, he was a bit drunk, a bit merry, and he had that little hors d'oeuvre. And he was going, who's got the figgy port? And he goes, oh, just take a word for it. The figgy port was lovely. I did really like it a bit. And then we get, obviously, the guards come in, a fight ensues.
Yep.
Loki, again, they both, I think the fight scenes are good. I they're quite well choreographed and quite well shot. And then Loki tosses a guard out of the train. He gets tossed out, and so does Sylvie. She jumps out after him. And after that, obviously, we got the tempad's broken now. So this is where she calls him an arsehole. She says, he says, I'm a god. She says, you're a clown and an arsehole. Basically. And very wanted. I get it. So then have a little moment to think, don't they? And then we're looking at the Ark, the ship that's going to save people that never makes it off. They say, well, we've never been on it before. So their idea is now just to get there and go. Now, this is where I think the biggest part of the best part really for before the amazing one shot they did. The biggest part of this when they're walking again, and he starts trying to get to know ask how the enchantments work. She sort of explains it. Stronger minds, as we said earlier, she has to create a fantasy or a memory. But the reveal is that TVA agent was just a normal Earth being before she joined TVA, which is completely contradicts what Owen Wilson's Mobius said, that they was all created there. So then it's revealed that they're actually all variants, and Loki says they don't know that. They have no idea. They believe this is their life, this was their life. So there's something else at play here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mephisto. No, there's something else at play here. We notice the timekeeper thing, or people keep saying no one's seen them or whatever. There's something behind the scenes. This isn't all what it seems. I think that is, like you said about Sylvie earlier, maybe because she's a bit of a weak antagonist. I don't think that's it. I don't really think there is going to be a main antagonist, if you get what I mean. I think it's just going to be the whole plot that unravels, and it's like trying to solve this sort of mystery of what's going on.
Yeah.
There probably will be someone there, maybe Kang. We've said it before, whatever. But then we get the one shot. Do you want to talk about the one shot? I know this sort of stuff. You like this sort of stuff.
Yeah, this was brilliant because it's all action, and the choreography was fantastic. Because if any of the extras or they misstep, then you got to start all over again. And they're basically trying to get through this place where the Ark is to get to the Ark. Obviously, things are crashing into the buildings. Buildings are collapsing. There's people everywhere. There's chaos, and it's fantastic to look at.
The weird Tour de France guards are still fighting them for some reason.
Yeah.
Get off the planet, lads.
That was the only bit I was a bit like, surely they want to get off as well. Why are they? Even the guards at the train station, they weren't on the train. So they was all waiting there, so they're all going to die. But it looked really good. There was people have made a few complaints about Loki's hidden power, which goes back to sort of
telekinesis.
He just stops the building or whatever it is crashing on him and puts it back up. Fine, Loki does have that ability in comics, but it's just never seen before, which is very much, when we did the Wonder Woman 84 thing, I made a point of it saying, if the power is required, it happens. And it was very much that, but you can't say anything away from that. I timed it. It's just over 3.5 minutes all at once. They did hide the cuts very well.
Yeah.
You could see the few moments when it did actually cut. Then it obviously culminates in the Ark being destroyed. And it's the first time there's been in any of these Marvel series, a real cliffhanger to end on, isn't it? I can't think of one anywhere else. I suppose WandaVision, when she reveals Agatha Harkness, it ends there, doesn't it? When she's down in the basement. But this was a full-on cliffhanger. Only ruined by the fact that they released a featurette. Did you watch it?
I haven't watched it. No.
It's that's Sophia DiMatteo, who plays Sylvie. There was a featurette on her character, and it shows some stuff from episodes coming up.
Right.
So you sort of obviously we know that they're not going to die there. No, we know that anyway. But it did reveal a few things. It shows a little girl, Loki, in it, or Sylvie or whatever, and it shows her in the TVA in that same outfit without a cloak with a collar around. So something happens that they get off of it, and that's the end of the episode. I think without the last 10 minutes, say 7 or 8 minutes, when the reveal of the TVA and then the one shot and that weird, like you said, Tokyo looking place, really saved the episode. I think
it did. Yeah,
it did. Completely agree. That one shot was amazing.
Yeah,
so fair play.
But now this unusually we don't know what's coming. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's actually a point where you think, well, how are they going to get off?
Yeah,
because they've got no way off. So it'll be interesting to see what next episode is.
Yeah. So we've done our episode rating. That was our roundup. Can we just quickly series as a whole so far then?
Series as a whole, I'll say 7.
I'd go 7 as well. A good series so far.
Yeah, 7.5 for me. So yeah, it's about right. So that was it. That was a roundup episode 3. Episode 4 comes out tomorrow, and we'll be doing this next week as well. So thanks for listening.
Thank you.